ISWMP vidcast. My captain. Take one.
How
was that?
It's perfect.
Oh. Cut. Take two.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this is going to be a little fun one, I think.
I'm
For
honored.
sure.
We're switching gears to the marine element. If those of us joining us for the first time, I'm Taylor. Welcome back to the I Stand With My Pack videocast. I'm joined again by the lovely Taryn LaRock, our CCO. This is sweet. This is 2 in a row, I think.
I know.
Yeah. For those who don't know, we are an LA-based nonprofit that we collaborate with other individuals and organizations, like our guest today, to try to bring awareness to both sides and both plights of what our animals we're trying to help with, or so whether it's just sustainability or awareness or whatever it might be. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us. With that said, Taryn helped liaison one of our guests today. This is the David Hance. The David Hance?
The David Hance.
Who I believe you went to the University of Colorado and
Yes.
you were a trained police officer. Blah?
That's right. Boy,
I
yeah.
had some time.
Know
I had
all
some
about
Google
my
time.
background. Yes. Right?
Nothing secret.
Excellent.
Private.
All the dirt is out now.
Well, I'm excited because I've known about Sea Shepherd for a very long time, but this is the first chance I've actually had to get to sort of interview or be around through an interview process for someone who's involved with the organization. So with that said, I think we're gonna jump right in. Yeah?
Let's do it.
Great.
Sweet.
Let's do it.
Do you want to lead us on this one, T, or you want
Sure.
me?
So you're the Chief Operating Officer for Sea Shepherd, correct?
That's right.
And you were previously a campaign manager?
I was a campaign director.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
How did you get involved?
Managers.
Oh, there. Okay.
Director's a better title. So
It absolutely is.
Yeah. That's right.
For
Everyone likes
those aspiring
director.
kids out there, director's
right.
a better title.
Yeah, there we go. So how did you get involved in ocean conservation and protection work? And then how did you get involved with Sea Shepherd?
Yeah, good. I think like most people that live in Southern California or coastal communities, you develop, hopefully, a love for the ocean and for the beauty. So many people, I think, that are landlocked, I think, don't get to experience it the way we do on a day-to-day basis. And so living here, which is where I came in my mid-20s, just because I love Southern California and this is where I wanted to live, I became a huge fan of the ocean and of the beaches and everything that the ocean's, not only the important role that it plays in our lives and in our existence, but just the beauty of it, of living somewhere so near the ocean. I don't think there's anything more serene than living on a coast and being able to see the ocean. So that was my love for the ocean, is really just being a Southern California resident. And then, like many people, I heard about this television show called Whale Wars. And actually, I didn't watch it for probably, I don't know how many episodes, or maybe a season or so, because I was under the impression that it was something like Deadliest Catch or one of these shows that exploited animals or whales. So I just didn't really have much of an interest. And then one day I saw a trailer, or I happened to have my television on, and I saw these people, volunteers, passionate people that were down in Antarctica on a ship protecting whales. And I was actually watching it with my daughter, who was quite young at the time, and who's over here watching. And she's also apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Huge animal lover, very compassionate, really good person, just like her father. He's an awesome guy. So she and I looked at each other and said, oh my gosh, look at these people. These are amazing. So I got online and I started looking into them, and I found the local LA chapter. And I said, this is the kind of group I need to be a part of. And this was at the time I was transitioning from the police department to private business, where I was doing civil rights and criminal defense for people that were accused of crimes, a lot of people that were falsely accused, or that I felt were innocent or were getting railroaded by the government. That was my primary job, but I really wanted to be involved with Sea Shepherd. So I started as a volunteer, started going on campaigns on different ships, different parts of the world. And in 2014, I started overseeing the campaigns as the campaign director, manager.
My mistake.
But not captain. But
No, not yet. One day. I think I'm about 1,000 hours short of the 1,000-hour requirement.
Is that what it takes?
I don't know.
1,000 hours to operate a vessel, to captain a vessel?
Quite a few.
Director's better.
Yeah, right. And then in 2016, when we restructured the organization and moved from Friday Harbor, Washington, reestablished in Los Angeles, because of my business background and my business training, they had asked me to take this position, which I was a little torn.
Yeah.
Because I really enjoy being out on our ships and being out on the ocean and actively saving animals versus what I knew would become a bit of a desk jockey position. But it's an important role, and I realized quickly how important this role is in the organization to keep the day-to-day running and the finances, the budgets and the campaign planning. So I took the job, and I still get to go to our ships and visit our crew and see the oceans a bit.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, which I do really enjoy. So I get enough of it that I don't lose it completely while I go back to Burbank, California, and sit in office a number of days.
Well,
and
at
then,
least
of
you're in
course, I
Venice
have
right now.
days like this where I get to come to
Yeah.
Venice
Yeah.
and meet nice people and live, sit in a beautiful place.
Well, we definitely know the struggle with trying to keep a nonprofit or an organization running with all the variables and elements that go into that as well. Because I would much rather just be out in the water chasing
course.
turtles or something with whales
Yeah.
but
Or chasing poachers.
Yeah.
And Sea
Yeah.
Shepherd is known for its like animal liberation front direct action tactics. So
Like ramming ships?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the water, the high pressure hosing and everything that you guys are up against. So how does that work? Like, have you seen a lot of dangerous things happen?
For sure. We were established in 1977, so this is actually our 41st year in
Wow.
existence.
Wow.
And Paul Watson, our founder, he's always been of the belief that you can do petitions and you can do protests, you can try to change the laws, but if the will of the people and the will of the government is not going to enforce or enact these laws, then you have to take it to the next step, which is physically getting involved. And so, yeah, we're very well known as a direct action, nonviolent. We're never armed. We don't carry any kind of weapons. We don't attack people, but we certainly will do whatever we have to do to step in the path of a poacher if that's what it takes to save an animal. So yeah, it's the last Antarctic campaign I was on in 2012 was called Operation Zero Tolerance, and there's footage online of the Nishimaru ramming the Bob Barker, which is the vessel I was on.
The Bob Barker.
Yeah,
I remember this.
Yeah.
smashing us against the fuel tanker, and they wanted fuel badly, and we basically put ourselves in a position next to the tanker where a ship goes to receive fuel, and we said, we're not going to allow you to get fuel. What you're doing is illegal, and we're going to sit here, you're not going to get fuel. And a few days of ships sailing around and water cannons and butyric acid and all these things happening, they finally got into desperation mode and just started trying to ram our ships out of the way.
Yikes.
But the great thing about vessels is they don't have brakes like a car, so they would hit one of our ships and both us and them would kind of float out of the way, and we'd bring another ship and put them there, and then they'd knock them out, and we just kept playing this game of...
It's almost kind of fun. Like,
If you're not on the boat,
in a weird way.
yeah.
If
Okay,
you're
we've
watching
got
it,
another
definitely.
ship. And then boom, that would go there. So this went on for a couple weeks, and
Oh, hello.
Hi, buddy.
Hi,
Good.
buddy.
That's all right.
Good.
No, I mean, we all care about animals, and we're an animal rights
Oh,
organization, so
yeah.
it's only fitting that we would
Yeah.
have
A special guest.
a special guest.
there, you're more important.
Surprise
Guys,
guest.
this is Zero, by the way.
What a
Yeah,
good
he's
boy.
a resident of this home. This is the mother over there.
Is he a karma dog? Karma rescue, or?
No,
okay.
he's not through us. I don't know where Maddie got him. Actually, she definitely took him out of a shelter when he was a puppy, though.
Excellent.
I mean, so
Yeah, it gets intense and it gets dangerous.
Yeah.
But before we would go to Antarctica, Captain Watson or Captain Hammerstead would sit with every crew member and, are you willing to lay your life on the line for a whale? And if people
Vacillated.
hemmed and hawed or said no, then they didn't go.
Wow.
It had to be an absolute yes, I will. Because that was the reality of what could happen down there. We were 4,000 miles away from the rest of the world, and it was us and the Japanese whalers.
now, being an American vessel and American citizens, do you feel like you got support from the Coast Guard if need be, or the naval?
No.
I mean, it wasn't.
No, we were in international waters,
Yeah.
and it was such a touchy topic with international relations. While a lot of governments may have secretly agreed with us, I think a lot of people were afraid to come out against Japan. Japan's a very powerful nation when it comes to international relations.
Yeah.
And so countries might support what we did, as I said, secretly, but were they going to endanger their trade agreements with a wealthy company like Japan, a wealthy country like Japan,
Yeah.
especially some of these smaller countries that rely on places like that for funding? So no, we didn't feel like there would be much support. We felt like it was really us versus them.
Has the Mexican government given you support with the vaquitas?
100% opposite. The Mexican government has been so amazing. And people, I think, are a little surprised when we say this. They have not only given us support with their Navy and their military, financial support, one of the best government partnerships I've ever seen. They truly care about saving the vaquita porpoise, which is
Yeah,
now
I was going to say,
severely.
so people don't know what that is, by the way.
Yeah. So in San Felipe, Mexico, there is a miniature porpoise called the vaquita. It's endemic to that area. What's been happening is there's another fish that the fishermen are fishing for called the totoaba. The totoaba is, I think they grow to be about 3 to 4 feet. What's valuable with the totoaba fish is their swim bladder. The swim bladder, it's the same thing that you hear about rhino horns and elephant tusks, shark fins, where in Asia, a lot of parts of Asia, people believe this to be, to have power and virility. So these swim bladders are selling, it's been nicknamed the aquatic cocaine. These swim bladders will sell for $10,000 to $15,000 per swim bladder. So you have these fishermen that are laying gill nets all over San Felipe to try to catch totoaba, but in the process they're catching everything else, including the vaquita. Now when we started this campaign, this is our 4th year that we just finished down there, scientists estimated there were probably around 90 to 100, and now it's 20 or less.
Wow.
In just 4 years.
Terrifying.
Yeah. So this year we put 3 vessels down there, which was all of the coastal fleets we have in Sea Shepherd, and dedicated it. The Mexican government, as I said.
Where in Mexico is this? Where?
San Felipe.
Pacific side.
Yep. And the Mexican government has been an amazing partner. They truly, truly are a conservation country. And so between them and us, we've thrown everything we can at this to try to save them. And, we'll see what happens.
Most people don't even know about that. That's the other thing. It's not like the dolphin slaughter in Japan when we talked about the Taiji or that slaughter. Everyone knows that because of film, because of what happens.
Yeah.
And the Cove.
The Cove, Rico Berry did an amazing
that animal
film.
getting coverage on it. I mean, that was hard to stomach. That was pretty hard to watch.
I was down there for 3 months as the ground leader in 2014, overseeing that campaign. So I was there from September 1st, or a couple days before September 1st, for 89 days, every single day watching this hunt and this slaughter and this captivity issue. And that's the thing with that issue. The slaughter is really a minor part of it. It's a horrific part of it. But the bigger issue behind that is the captivity. The average dolphin, say trained dolphin, they capture a dolphin, their trainers train it so they can sell it to marine parks, SeaWorld, these types of places. The average trained dolphin will sell for $100,000 to $150,000.
Crazy.
And they're capturing 400, 500, 600 dolphins per year that they're putting up for sale. So when you extrapolate that number and do the math, this is a $20 million.
Yeah, it's big business.
Yeah. So really captivity is the thing that drives the dolphin slaughter in Japan and in other places. It's all about captivity. That's why we're so aside from just the cruel conditions that animals live in when they're in captivity, but this is why we're so anti-captivity when you hear us so forcefully telling people, don't go to SeaWorld, don't go to marine parks, don't swim with dolphins. These are not good programs, and look back here to Taiji at where this started. When you see these...
How long has that been going on?
Oh gosh, since the 80s.
Wow.
But Rico Berry in 2008, I think, is when when he put out the Cove, which won an Academy Award. He, along with Sea Shepherd and I think other activists, really exposed us to the world. And I think that's when people really realized, because at the time, I was shocked when I saw this. I had no idea something. People in Japan, and part of the film, I think, was him showing it to people in places like Tokyo and Osaka, where people are more modernized. They were, I don't think this is our country, and he was showing them footage.
Yeah.
They didn't even know what was happening in their own country, let alone the rest of the world.
Yeah, I mean, the shock value of that alone, but it was a great wake-up call. I mean, there was positive things you take away from that, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But you, Sea Shepherd it seems like you guys are always making the news for doing things that other organizations may not because of your commitment to direct action. And then Paul Watson is now a notable figure throughout the conservation world and through whale wars. I mean, he's fairly well known, and I know that he made a statement that it logically makes sense to me. But he said there are 30 million plus species on the planet. They're all Earthlings. They're all equal. Some are more equal than others. I admit. Earthworms are more valuable than people. And that irritated a lot of people. And they thought, oh, well, we're the dominant species. You know, clearly a worm doesn't have the same value as a human being. That's an absurd statement. But I think that if you look at it scientifically or logically, if worms and bees were gone, we would all be in trouble. No one would have really anything to eat.
Yeah.
And so with the ocean, is it true that over half of our oxygen comes through whales? Are they another species that we couldn't do without?
Well, no. I mean, if you think about it, you know, and Paul definitely says things that irritate people, but I really
Get
think
your attention.
Yeah, well, and I think it's the fact that the truth sometimes bothers people, and I think that's really what's at the root of it. But the point he's making is that this entire planet, we have this arrogance as humans because we feel like we're the dominant species, that everything else is less than us. But if you look at it, as you said, Taryn, from a scientific standpoint, Paul is very well known for saying where he says, if the oceans die, we die. And that does have to do with the role that the ocean plays in our lives, with the oxygen, with the role it plays in photosynthesis. And I think that he's been known for saying this for so long that I think sometimes it's become cliche, where people say, well, if the oceans die, we die. And people say, oh, if the oceans die, we die. But if you stop and think about that statement, if the oceans die, we die. If the ocean were to die off and the whales were to disappear and the sharks, which are apex predators in the ocean, and this entire ecosystem started breaking down, that would be the beginning of the end of the ocean because it's a balanced system without us. And if that system starts breaking down and eventually the oceans die off, then we as a human species, who are the dominant species on this planet, we wouldn't be able to survive. So really, who's got dominance?
The worms.
Does the ocean need us,
Yeah.
or do we need the ocean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
do the worms need us, or do we need the worms? So yeah,
It's good to
it's
remember.
a very true statement, and sorry,
sombering, too.
sorry that it pisses people off. But hey,
It doesn't piss me off.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
doesn't piss any of us off, but I know probably most of our listeners. But yeah, some people it does, and you know what? Oh well.
Check out the facts.
I mean, everything you guys do, though, and it's going to, some things we do rub people the wrong way, whether that's, petitioning outside of a consulate or saying somebody shouldn't be doing or eating something. Ultimately, you can't, make everybody happy.
I think anything that pushes people out of their comfort zone and points out maybe what they view somewhere inside as their faults, that's their first reaction is, fuck.
That's how you get change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm a Pisces, so
We
ocean-
are, yeah.
To me, it's like,
Yeah, me
people that have a
too.
problem with the ocean, it's,
Yeah.
I have a problem with them. But-
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Sea Shepherd, obviously the website, and if you're lucky enough to tune into like old reruns on Discovery Channel or Nat Geo, for
Yeah.
sure. But how else can people help be involved with?
Well, I mean, there's so many ways. If people want to be involved and they get a really cool shirt like this that says crew, they can come out on our ships and volunteer. Back when we had the Antarctic campaign as our main campaign, we would want 6 months out of people. If you couldn't commit to 6 months, we really couldn't take you on the ships. But now we have campaigns, as we talked about in San Felipe, where you can do 2 or 3 weeks or a month on one
great.
of our ships as a volunteer crew member, and it's very fulfilling. So there's that. They can get involved in their local chapters, the land-based chapters, where they go out and do outreach and work events like Earth Day events and sell our merchandise and do outreach at schools. Obviously, they can donate money. We're a nonprofit, so
You guys had quite the booth down at Racing Extinction.
Yeah.
I was down there for the
Yeah.
5K a couple weeks ago.
Oh, good. Yeah, it was a good event, and
It was.
We have a very good track record as a nonprofit with a very large percentage of our income going directly to our campaigns. We have very low overhead for such a big organization here in Los Angeles. Our staff is made up of 11 people, and people see our
Wow.
organization with all these ships, and we have 11 paid staff members.
Wow.
That shows you how
It's impressive.
how important the money is that people give us. So they can buy our merchandise on our e-store, which is on our website, seashepherd.org. They can make donations. They can do a monthly donation off of their credit card or their checking account. And for people who may not be able to afford it, or they want to put their money elsewhere, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and just help get the word out there, because education and awareness is equally as important as the fundraising.
Good point.
Yeah, there's a ton of ways to get involved.
Awesome.
Yeah. Your daughter's boyfriend's listening?
Yeah, I hope so.
Zane, you listen?
They're my next recruits. As soon as
You
they,
guys are next.
and my daughter Adriana told me we were so involved with Sea Shepherd. She was one of the youngest volunteers in the LA chapter, and she said, "After I graduate high school, Daddy, I want to go on a campaign." And I said, "Well, let's do it after you graduate college." And,
Yeah.
Nice.
There we
But,
go. It's a
yeah.
good reward.
But she'll be on one of our ships in the next couple of years.
Awesome.
For sure.
I'm going to be on one of these ships the next couple of years.
Should.
You're going to be on it in the next couple of months. We hadn't really talked about that yet. But that's
Gear
for
up,
the break.
Taylor.
I hadn't broken that to you.
This
yet.
has been awesome, man.
Thank you so much for
Yeah,
having
that
me.
you're finally able to get this.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get into the next one with Paul. But so again, for you guys tuning in, thank you. You can follow us on our social media, on our Twitter, Instagram as well, our website, iswmp.org or istandwithmypack.org. Same sort of thing. We work with 11 different species basically, so you can decide if you want to buy a shirt where your proceeds go to, and you can allocate it that way. You can reach out to us. Taryn, thanks for joining me.
Yeah,
today.
of course.
Yeah.
Always.
Speaking of which, he's got a Sea Shepherd t-shirt. Yeah, whatever, dude. We got an I Stand With My Pack
yeah.
t-shirt.
Oh, nice. Very good. I wonder if Paul will disown me from the org if I put this
No.
on right now over my Sea
No,
Shepherd shirt.
you're supposed to put it on right now.
Oh, that's the.
Yeah,
that's
and then
the-
we call you an earthworm.
Nice. Well, I got to say the word Sea Shepherd enough.
Yeah, right.
Did I just get fired from my?
No, not at all. This episode, by the way, my captain. It was a pleasure to have you out here.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it a lot.
yeah, absolutely.
All jokes aside, you guys are doing great work, and I appreciate the exposure. And
Oh yeah, and that leaves me one thing. We have our big annual event, Rise Against Extinction, July 19th. Usually we focus on the Loser ecosystem with land-based animals. This year we're incorporating the Pacific manta ray, loggerhead turtle, humpback whales.
great.
So yeah, awesome, brother.
cut. Nice.
All right.
Thanks, man. That
Yeah.
was awesome.